Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button. Also click on that bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me on my live streams that I do most weekdays, or outside of the live stream, you can consider joining my Discord. There is a link for that down in the description below. If you'd like to get some ideas of the meals that our family enjoys on our whole food plant-based diet, there is a Pinterest board that we created. There's a link for that down in the description below as well. So you guys can go and check out some of our family's favorite whole food plant-based meals. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd love to share, I would love to hear them. If you have any on-scale victories, I'd love those as well. How you guys doing on your diets? Are you losing weight? Are you staying on track? What's keeping you from getting started if you're waiting to get started on a diet? And, a big thing that I have found with this whole process is making sure that you have a plan and you have something together to get you to your goals. And a big part of that is what decisions are you making, or what things are you putting in place now that are going to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative, which is usually giving in to temptation and eating some junk food or eating something off diet. What are you going to do to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? I'm going to go ahead, switch off of the intro screen here. I hope everybody had a great evening. I got my system back up and running, so we're all good to go. Pretty Girl's mom is saying, hey, Pretty Girl's mom. I think it's supposed to be, hey. Is that how you wrote that there? I hope you're having a great day. Carrie's checking in, saying hello as well. I hope you're having a great day at home today. So I got my internet working, came into work this morning and everything was working fine. Like nothing was wrong. And it seems to have been working fairly well throughout the day. At the very beginning of the stream here, the YouTube system was telling me that there wasn't a very good connection, but now it's telling me that connection is excellent. Sorry, I just wanted to move the microphone a little bit there to get in a better spot for me. So yeah, yesterday's stream was a little bit awkward. I was using my cell phone on a little, it's actually the same thing I use to hold my cell phone when I do my weigh-in Wednesdays. I just positioned it on my desk to face me. So hopefully yesterday's stream wasn't better than today's as far as audio and video quality, or else all of the work I've done to set this up has been a little bit wasted. Christy's checking in saying hello, Christy. I hope you're having a great day. Elizabeth says hi from South Wales, England. Hi from Iowa in the United States, Elizabeth. I hope you're having a great day. So I went after stream yesterday, went home, had dinner. I did take some photos of the food that I enjoyed since yesterday. So I am going to try to pop this up on screen. When I got home, dinner was going to be a little bit before it was done, and I was hungry. So I made myself a bowl of shredded wheat with pineapples in it. I had not done the pineapple thing much. Carrie's been telling me to give it a shot, and so I did the other day. And then yesterday, I had pineapples as well. We ran out of raisins. I'm not sure if Carrie purchased more raisins or not, but I think I am going to try to eat more pineapple with the shredded wheat than raisins. I don't know. I suppose it's a coin flip of what is better. I think that maybe the pineapple is a little bit better. It just gives it a nice flavor. The juice from the pineapple kind of mixes in with the West soy milk as well, sweetens that milk up a little bit. And just overall, it really tastes great with the pineapple on there. I kind of get this little bit of a hint of like a pineapple upside down cake, just it's, not quite there, but kind of gives me that kind of a hint of that flavor. And so I had some shredded wheat yesterday before dinner was done. This is, let me see if it pops up here. This is what happens when you start bugging the cook about where the food's at. So I'm sure she'll appreciate me sharing that with you guys today. But this is our dinner from last night. The photo, this one's going to be a better photo here. It was, I guess it's polenta with veggies on it. I feel like there was a name to this. Carrie might chime in and let me know. Carrie says, hey, yeah. At least she expected to see her face on stream today. But I don't know what the mix on the top is called. And we actually normally, I don't really know the difference, but Carrie was kind of explaining it's a difference between white corn and yellow corn. But what we had yesterday was maybe actually grits and not polenta, but she might be able to chime in and answer that for me. But I really enjoy this meal. This one is definitely gone to the top of the list of meals that I'm a fan of on this diet. I've talked a lot about like the rosemary and bake, and the our mega veggie chili that we have all the time. But this is really good. The presentation here looks real nice, but then I just take a fork and I just mix it all together. Veggie Minded Apparel says, I've never seen a meal like that. It looks delicious. And it was delicious. I feel like there might be a recipe to it. It's creamy polenta with white beans and mushrooms. I don't know if that's shared on our Pinterest board or not. Maybe Carrie can let me know that as well. But this was the first serving of this I had, and it was very photogenic and nice. And then I went back for seconds, and Carrie says it is on the Pinterest board. So you guys can find the creamy polenta with white beans and mushroom on the Pinterest board that's linked down in the description below. I ended up taking a photo of this here. This was the second bowl of it that I put together. And it was one of those situations where, oh my gosh. Where the, I used up all of the polenta or grits that was on, left in the pan. And then I put the white beans and mushroom and mix on top of it. And there was like a scoop of the beans left, or maybe a scoop and a half of the beans left. And there was no more of the base anymore. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to pack it in. And I threw the rest of it on top, mixed it all together, and I was stuffed by the time I was done with this last night. Really didn't have any cravings to eat anything else the rest of the night. I might have had an apple later on, but for the most part, I was highly satisfied between the shredded wheat I ate when I first got home, and then this was about about an hour later that we had dinner. And so it was definitely a large volume of food last night. Carrie says that the corn grits were made from white corn instead of yellow corn. And as far as she knows, that's the only difference between grits and polenta. They are one ingredient only as far as she knows. It is such a simple and easy meal, but it looks fancy. Yes. And it, there's nutritional yeast in it, which I feel like is a big part of the reason that I enjoy it. And then also the sauce that's used is really good in the white beans and mushroom portion of it as well. So overall, very good meal, lots of great vegetables, lots of mix of different things. And then for breakfast this morning, I wonder if you can guess what we had for breakfast this morning. Oatmeal with spinach, mushrooms, and onions. Very good. Again, always good, and pretty easy breakfast there. So, that was the food that I have eaten since yesterday. Pretty Girl's mom says it looks really good. Yum. Yes, it is very good. I really enjoy it. If you are looking for a new recipe, I would recommend going and checking out the link on our Pinterest, or checking on our Pinterest board, which there's a link to down in the description, and checking that recipe out. But overall, it's a really good recipe. And it's so weird because if I would have eaten that volume of food, but it had been the type of food that I used to eat, I would have felt awful the rest of the day. I don't know that I would have been able to do much else the rest of the afternoon if I'd eaten that volume of food, but it had been more calorie dense, things than the corn grits and white beans that I had last night. Trying to think of if anything big happened since yesterday. Not a whole lot's happened. I got on the scale. Things are looking good, but it's really kind of this cycle that I continue to get into, is that I weigh in on Wednesday, come Friday afternoon, getting ready to leave to go home. I check my weight, feel really good about it. I'm down since Wednesday. Then I go home, spend the weekend at home, come back Monday, and I end up coming back up. And then by Wednesday, I have been getting close to her. Last Wednesday, I was down, 0.8 of a pound. And it's just a weird cycle that I'm in, and that the fact that I can even recognize it because I'm paying that close of attention. Like if I wasn't weighing myself every day, I wouldn't have any idea. I would just come in. If I was just coming in on Wednesday and weighing in, then that's, what my weight would be. But since I'm weighing in every day, or in some cases more than once a day, I have a better idea of kind of my pattern with it. Carrie says that I'm surrounded by food, even if it is healthy at home. Yes, there is, we do have lots of ingredients and lots of different things at home. It's just, I don't have to worry about I don't have to worry a whole lot about giving into the temptation, because the foods that are not on my diet are pretty much foods that are the kids' foods. And I can separate that pretty good for myself to not eat the kids' food and it not being on my diet. We do still have a half a bag of crushed cashews in one of our cupboards. Carrie has been nice enough to store it in a different cupboard than our pantry. I think that mostly because she knows if it was in our pantry that I would see it every time I went to the pantry, and eventually it would disappear. So we have it kind of over by the stove in a different cupboard. And I do notice it, but I have I've given up on the nuts for now. And I mean, we'll have them in. We have these cashews now to use in recipes. And so if it's in a recipe, then I'm not going to be so, such a stickler on it. But I don't want to just grab a handful of cashews or have a nut butter that I'm putting on a slice of bread right now. So, but yeah, I mean, it's nice having a mostly clean environment and being able to go to the cupboard and grab that box of shredded wheat and eat it. Grab an apple, grab an orange, grab a banana and eat it, and not have to worry about it being off diet or too high of calories. Elizabeth says that you have not tried savory oats, but you love oats with fruit. I love oats with fruit too. We, for a long time, that's what we did. If you went back and watched the first 15 months of me doing this, it was oats with fruit in it. And then I read Chef AJ's book, The Secret to Ultimate Weight Loss, and she talks a lot about vegetables for breakfast. So we switched from having fruits in our oatmeal to having a more savory oatmeal, and we really do enjoy it. I don't know if that's exactly what Chef AJ was pushing for when she was saying for vegetables for breakfast. I think it was more like, eating like broccoli and some other things for breakfast, and not oats, but we switched to it and I like it. It hasn't changed too much for me. I'd have to ask Carrie for her if it changed anything for her. I think the fear with having a lot of fruit or something sweet in the morning is it kind of sets your day off on that sweet path, and then all day you're looking for something sweet. And when you have something more savory in the morning, you don't have that drive or the sweet stuff as much. Carrie says the ones we have aren't super tasty anyways, good for cooking, not for snacking. Oh, the cashews that we have are not super tasty, she says. So then Courtney asked, do you mind when people asking you have lost weight? I'm not exactly sure, like in my daily life, if people have asking me about weight loss or on here, or maybe you're missing a word. I'm not sure, Courtney, what you're asking there. And then Victoria said that you made the Plant-Based Gabriel 3-2-1 burgers and they crumbled after they cooked. Has this happened to anyone else? It doesn't surprise me that could happen with it. They are fairly dry. But I don't feel like I ever had them crumble on us. So I'm not sure what it uses as a binding agent. I know when Carrie made them one time, she forgot to put the beans in the mixer. You're supposed to put the beans in the mixer so it like pre-smashes them a little bit, or it breaks the skin up a little bit, and then you make the patties first. I'm sorry. You smash the black beans, and Carrie's asking if you mash the black beans. You mash the black beans separate and then put it in with the mix and then make the patties. When she didn't smash the black beans one time, it was a little bit, it crumbled a little bit more, but it stayed together for the most part. And, as long as you got all the ingredients right, for me, I don't really care if they're in a patty or not. Like, I really like that mix of the Plant-Based Gabriel's 3-2-1 burger mix that he has there. And I've eaten them just as patties, not on burgers, or I've put them on lettuce and had, I think we use like a mango salsa on them. But I don't necessarily need them to be a burger, but if you're looking to try to make a burger, I'm sure that's annoying that it was falling apart for you. So, But yeah, that was the only time we had an issue with it, was that we didn't mash the black beans first. The I've been feeling really like thin the last few days, and I'm really happy with that. I talked a little bit about the other day that my belt had been in a position where I could put it on the smallest hole on the belt, and it was comfortable. And yesterday I was laying on my back and just kind of not having that big, massive belly around me. It's just kind of weird to try to think back and put myself in the position that I used to be in, and how, like, it was, it's quite a bit different, and then just walking around today, doing some things, I felt slimmer. Like, it's a weird thing, and I think that it's more that I haven't been feeling bloated the last few days. I think that maybe I was kind of bloated for a while there, for a week or so, and now that that's gone away, that I'm feeling back into the swing of this diet. Like, it's something that, unless you eat this way, I think it's hard to understand how different your stomach feels, like the digestive part of my body. Like, it's and I've said this many times in the last 9 months, where I went and we had something at a restaurant, or we had a period of time where we ate things that had salt in them. And then, starting actually with 2022 here, when I kind of recommitted to the no restaurant thing, and I know we screwed that up a week or two ago, but for 5.5 months, I guess, it wasn't an issue. That I would, I definitely notice the difference between eating really clean versus eating mostly clean. And I think that might be where some of that good feeling that I've been having the last day or two has been from the lack of bloating, or the reduction in bloating. So but yeah, and it's something where I kind of, the name of today's stream here is the starch solution for extreme weight loss. And I think that I think I meant to put maximum, but I put extreme. Anyways, I think that he's kind of got something, I think it's not much different than the diet we were eating. And I still don't plan to add in the salt, oil, and sugar to the diet, because I am a big fan of how much we've reduced that from our diet, and when you don't introduce it into your cooking, it makes it easy to keep it away, and then when I do have it, it is in a situation where I'm 5 hours away from home and we're eating at a restaurant or something. And, but I am really, it's crazy the number of people that have found success doing the starch solution. And I had never heard about it before I started this diet. And now that I've been eating a plant-based diet for the past year and a half or 20 months, I definitely have a new appreciation for it. And it's not the most exciting diet, but it really does. It's so doable, like last night I was so full that I couldn't eat anymore. And there is never been a diet in the last 20 years that I've been on where at the end of the day, or the following day, like yesterday, I was close to that 308.6. I'm not exactly sure what I was yesterday, but um, last night I went home and I just stuffed myself full of food. And I came into work today and I was like a pound lighter. I was down in the 307s today when I got to work. And that is just amazing to me that I can pack in food like that and still lose weight. And O says that the polenta looked wonderful. You have to try it. Yes, you should. I recommend it. I think it's a great dish. Um, the but being able to enjoy a meal that's becoming one of my favorite meals, and to be able to have seconds and have a huge second portion, and then the following day come in and be lighter than I was the day before, feel better than I did the day before, and just overall being more satisfied with everything. You know, I'm not sitting here dying that oh man, I wish I had some more to eat or I needed something. Like the way my schedule works is that I can eat in the morning, I can go work through the day, stay away from food, and then come home and eat a pretty good volume of food and kind of repeat that every day. And, you know, I'm starting to figure out how to get the weight to come down. And the calorie density is very important. And I was, and I guess I've talked about this a lot this past week though, but, you know, it's so important to keep that calorie density lower because our bodies, if you're somebody, I actually was having this conversation today and I talked about it a little bit in Chef AJ's group, and I think I talked about it this week on here too, but our bodies are amazing. And if you're somebody like me who every time you eat something that has fat in it, that your body stores it as fat and you get up to 519.8 pounds, that line you have to ride between calorie deficit and calorie surplus is very thin because my body's very good at absorbing calories and sending them to the right place or doing something with them or converting them into something different. And if I don't focus on calorie density or if I don't pay attention to eating lower calorie dense foods, it's going to be extremely easy for me to eat at a surplus. And I need to be at a deficit if I want to see weight loss. And even if that deficit's only 100 calories a day over the course of a month, that's a pound, you know, and it's generally probably more than 100 calories. But I cannot allow the little crap like the nut butters to swing that the other way, you know, like to go from being at a 100 calorie deficit to a 100 calorie surplus just because I wanted some nut butter. It's not worth it right now. And I was actually listening to a video today where they talked a little bit more about the maximum weight loss program, because I have not read Maximum Weight Loss. I had read Starch Solution, and they had kind of talked about how in the program that once you get to your goal weight and you're able to maintain your goal weight, then I think you're allowed to start introducing some of the higher calorie foods in. But that's the future, you know, like I'm not saying goodbye to nut butters. I'm just saying, see you later. And that kind of mentality has worked for me with other things. And, kind of an awful example. I used to chew tobacco. I chewed tobacco for probably over 15 years. And once we had kids, it kind of became a thing having spitters and stuff like that around. So I quit chewing tobacco cold tofurkey. But it was something where I had to kind of tell myself, hey, you know what, let's stop chewing tobacco. A year from now, if you want to try it or then we'll cross that bridge a year from now. But right now you need to cut it out and you need to get it out of your system. And then fast forward that year, and I was with somebody that had chewing tobacco, and I was like, I'll give that a shot. And it was awful. I hated it. And I don't see any reason why I would ever chew tobacco again. And so, right now I kind of have that same thing with the peanut butters, some of the fruit juices, the avocados, these things that are generally healthy foods, but their calorie density isn't great for weight loss. Like I said, I kind of have to say, we'll see you later, and maybe I won't see them again. Maybe I won't ever have, a nut butter again or something like that. But as of right now, I have to be under that mentality that I can't have it right now. Anthony says that you're working out right now. That's awesome, Anthony. Have a great weekend. Best wishes. That's awesome. Yeah. I hope that you have a great workout and a great weekend. Carrie's saying the same thing here. Yeah, so the starch solution it's made a difference. Like, I'm glad that I read the book, and I've been kind of following some of the protocols that they talk about, and then focusing on that calorie density, and I briefly mentioned I was talking to some people about weight loss today, and I'm in a new building and I'm around some new people. And so they know I do this live stream thing, because it's kind of an awkward thing where I have to be like, hey, 4:00, I'm doing something. And then they kind of like, well, what do you do at 4:00? And so I have to kind of, so I kind of had to talk to him a little bit about it. Sony said, do you ever think a sub for the shredded wheat, which is 1,600 calories per pound? I'm not sure what would be as good. Yeah, I didn't realize it was that many calories per pound. That kind of frustrates me. I suppose the only other thing I could say is that it seems to be a decent volume for that 1,600, especially compared to the nut butter. But I guess that would be the flip of it, is that a pound of shredded wheat is actually a lot of food, right? Like, it's like a pound of lettuce is a lot of lettuce. So yeah, but if I don't start seeing weight loss, or if I get hung up, I guess that's the next thing to go, is the shredded wheat, which would be fine. I think that just eating rice and potatoes would be what I would have to substitute. I would just have to eat more rice or have a couple potatoes instead of having that, the shredded wheat, which I think would be satisfying. I just get worried that it would be boring, and that, it's not anything that you really want to have. You don't want to use that as an excuse not to do something, I guess. But, yeah, I've given up so much already. But yeah, I'm not sure what I would sub in for that, other than just starches, eating ears of corn or having potatoes around. If anybody has any suggestions, like what they snack on, I'd love to hear that. Do you end up having, do you eat we've had popcorn, I guess, without any butter and oil in it. Let's see. Laquita says, happy Friday. Shredded wheat is less of a favorite than rice and potatoes. Yeah. Um, like I said, the rice and potatoes, I have been eating a lot of those too, so it's, and it wouldn't hurt me not to have the shredded wheat. But right now I leave it in there and, probably start eating it with the pineapple and not the raisins as much though. So that I think would help because the raisins are a little bit more calorie dense. But talking about working in the office, and I haven't dropped the ball on what my diet is. They haven't really asked me what I eat. 'Cause I don't eat at work. I think that they probably are curious, 'cause they know I've lost weight. I've talked to them that I was 520 pounds. I've lost 200 pounds and, talked little bits about it, but at the same time, it's an odd diet to pitch to people, because they were talking about some of their weight loss struggles and, and another thing that I actually had mentioned to them and is part of this whole thing is that I am still fat. So I went from very, very fat to just very fat. And once I can get to a spot where I'm regular fat or down, once I lose to get to my goal and get to 220 pounds, which is still considered overweight for somebody my height and age, that people will start taking note more, or they'll respond to my suggestions a little bit better. While you guys watch me and some of you have been watching me from very early on and seen the difference between 200-pound me, and you see the photos that I post up as thumbnails of how different I am. You guys kind of see that, whereas people in my day-to-day life, or especially people I've met since I've lost, this 200 pounds, they don't see the difference. They just kind of still see a guy that's overweight and, why would I listen to this guy talk to me about dieting? He's 50 pounds heavier than I am. So, I don't quite have that confidence in my personal life to start, pushing my narrative or my diet, philosophies onto people. If they ask me, I will gladly talk your ear off. We had a very long conversation about other things, not specifically about diet, but I talked about, we live in a world of abundance now. We evolved from a world of scarcity, and the people that can put weight on quickly, they are actually evolutionarily the ones that would have survived 10,000 years ago, because the people like me, I feel like I can put on fat pretty easily. And I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that can put on fat pretty easily, that, that was a benefit 10,000 years ago when we lived in this world of scarcity. And now it's seen as being a negative trait. The fact that you can put on fat is a negative thing. That was not the case. Probably even 200 years ago, that probably wasn't the case. But especially, thousands of years ago, when we didn't have the agricultural systems that we have now. Laquita says that your kids love chickpea salad and they love toasted chickpeas as a snack. You can flavor them different ways. Carrie's asking if you have an SOS free chickpea salad. And we make the Well Your World chickpea salad, but Carrie says she's the only one that actually likes it. I don't mind it. I eat it. I like hot food more than cold food. Laquita says it's tough to tell people, even if you have gotten down to wearing kids sizes again, then they say, I don't want to get that skinny. Yeah. How rough is that? That, I don't want to be fat like you. And now it's, oh, you got too skinny. Like there's no middle ground with a lot of people. Those are the type of people I always say that you give them $1,000,000 and they complain about paying taxes on it. Colleen says that they were pleasantly surprised this week that there was a vegan tamale option at a local restaurant. You were treated by your new boss and it was so tasty. It had a great side of beans and salad too. Yeah, it's really great that a lot of places are picking up something on their menu. And the funny thing is a lot of people don't realize that most of what you eat is kind of plant-based, like potatoes, french fries, it's plant-based. There's lots of things that don't have to be tweaked very much to make them vegan from the way they're prepared, and so a lot of restaurants are having these options or, having them available to people. And I think that overall it's becoming more popular to eat this way. Still very small population of people eating this way. Colleen says you commented and the server told you that the owner's son was vegan. Yes, that's great. And that's really how it happens. You get a relative or a friend or somebody and they kind of start doing that. There's a pizza place in town here. I have no idea why they offer a vegan pizza, but they offer a vegan pizza for some reason. I do suspect that the reason that they offer a vegan pizza is because they can upcharge like $8 for the ingredients and they think they can get away with it. But I won't be buying any pizza from you anytime soon. But yeah, they get some sort of somebody wanting it and they kind of meet that need for that person. So that's great. And Carrie says it is nice to have options when you're going out. Laquita says she needs to do a video for it because it is, I imagine, sugar and oil free, but I think that, or she thinks that the seasoning does have some salt in it. And then Sonia says, so nice to find a vegan option at a restaurant. They love to throw in a little bit of butter or cream into all their recipes. Yeah, it's that little bit of love though, that's it's not necessarily on purpose, like they're not putting butter or cream in the food to make you fat. They're putting butter or cream in the food so that you have a very high dopamine response to eating that food so that the next time you're thinking about where to go eat, you're like, oh, you know what? That place had that whatever that tasted amazing. And so I'm going to go back there. And so they add that little bit of love so that you come back to their restaurant, and you're happy. You leave pleased, because that's their goal, is to please you. Their goal isn't just to feed you, but they also want you to be satisfied with the food that you've been fed. So they sugar it up, they salt it up, they oil it up just to get you to go there. And then Laquita says the restaurant should be ashamed of how much they charge you for real food. Yes. Who was I talking to about this? About the scratch cooking and kind of the cost of foods. It might have been one of my coworkers here that I was just talking about the profit that these companies have because they create this proprietary blend, like the reason why rice and beans are so cheap is because there's, what, it was on stream. I was talking about this because I was talking about the Apple Jacks. That's what it was. But yeah, the rice and beans, you can grow those yourself if you really wanted to. But there's nothing that they've done to the rice or the beans to make it special or unique. But if they take that rice and they add some salt and seasoning and flavors, and then throw it in a box and slap rice-a-roni on the top of the box, then they can take that same rice that was, probably cost them 10 cents a pound, and they can upcharge on it, twice as much. Like, I don't even know what a box, something like that. But I know rice itself is cheap. You can get a pound of rice for less than $1. But if you buy products that have rice in them as an ingredient, you're going to spend a lot more, because they have something proprietary. They have something that is unique to their recipe, or something that they feel like they've figured out that you need to have, and they charge through the roof for it. And then, our cost of food's going to go up. It has been going up, and I think that it's tough to realize, but it's going to go up more, because the cost to drive these trucks around, to plow these fields, to do anything is going way up. And that all of that cost is going to get passed on to us. And, I haven't sat down and compared my food budget today versus my food budget when I started this. But I know that me not going to the fast food restaurants is saving me over $400 a month. And that is probably higher. I don't know how much cost has gone up in food in 2 years, but when I started this channel for the first month, I kind of went back and looked at an old bank statement and kind of just pulled out the fast food that I ate, and the stuff that I was just eating myself. It wasn't the dinners, it wasn't the pizza that we got or the restaurants we went to at night, but just the fast food. And I was spending over $400 a month on fast food for myself to get breakfast and lunch. And that would probably be closer to $500 today. The same amount of food, just because of the rising food costs, it would be, $80 more than it was then. And then Laquita says that she will do something with that recipe. And then you also make a ranch from tofu, that you're going to do a video for that. Your kids were sneaking food at school, and you like this ranch. It's so delicious. Yeah, Carrie says, if your kids like it, let us know, because we want to find foods that our kids enjoy. And our kids really like the Hidden Valley's plant-based ranch, but it is definitely not healthy for them. That is for sure. So I was talking about food, and overall, I'm back at top speed again, I feel like. And if I can get through this weekend without eating too much food, I think that I'll have a good weigh in next week. So, but I am, I am very happy that I've increased the starches in my diet and gotten rid of some of those other things, and I think it's going to have a positive result. And if anything, at least I'm not starving myself, that is something that I think is a huge positive on this diet, is the amount of volume you can eat, still lose weight. And I don't really worry about having those non-compliant binges that I would always have in diets that I would do before. I'm not, I can't say that it's not tempting to try something or have something that's off diet, but it's not necessarily something where I would go off the rails with it. Whereas in previous diets, once I kind of allowed myself to eat more food, then I couldn't stop the floodgates from staying open. I couldn't close them back down very quickly. This diet has not been that way for me. You know, I can go one day, eat at that restaurant, and then the next day just get back on track. And that's been really nice. So, I'm going to get out of here for the weekend. I am planning on streaming all of next week, and then I will be here for a few days the following week, but pretty much after July 15th, I have some pretty serious work obligations. So I don't know when I'll be able to stream and not. The fact that I was able to stream from my phone yesterday does give me some hope that I might, do something out like while I'm walking, or do something outside if I'm unable to do much streaming from my office. But I know after the 15th, I get busy. That last week in July, I will not be streaming, but next week should be a normal schedule of streaming. So I'm looking forward to having a great weekend. I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. And if you have not started your diet yet, there's nothing coming up, guys. I know it's hard. I know it's really hard not to just kick that can down the road, but there's no reason to keep putting it off. You need to get started right now. Nobody in the history of forever has gotten to their goal and wished that they would have waited. Everybody looks back and wishes they would have started sooner. Don't fall for the myths of moderation, the myth of moderate consumption, the idea that a little bit of something unhealthy is okay. Oh, just as long as you eat that in moderation, or as long as you only eat a moderate amount of that, it's okay for you. You wouldn't tell that to somebody who's addicted to cocaine. You wouldn't tell that to an alcoholic. But with our food, it seems to be okay. When there's plenty of healthy options out there. There's no reason to put something in your body that's going to harm your health when we have so many wonderful options out there for us. Also, the myth of moderate change, the idea that you're going to slowly go from eating a highly processed, high calorie, high fat, high sugar, high sodium diet to a healthy diet over time is extremely difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's very difficult to make it happen. If your goal is to switch to this diet anyways, then why drag it out? Why not just switch? And so many times, and I've done this too, where I'm like, okay, I'm going to start eating keto. So then I eat a bunch of bacon or something like that. And then, but I don't get rid of the carbohydrates right away. I just eat more protein, or eat more animal product to keep myself to pretend like I'm going to start this diet. And you can do the same thing with this diet. I'm going to start eating more salads, but then after the salad, you're still eating that same crap afterwards. It's extremely tough to convince your body that to switch. So, and if you make the change one time, if you make the decision one time to just do it, then you don't have to fight yourself anymore. A couple comments here. It says, have a great weekend, Jonathan and family. Thanks for sharing your journey. Thanks for following along on it. And Laquita says that you have the ranch you have the ranch dressing video up, and there is salt, but it is healthier than the Hidden Valley ranches. We'll just enjoy the streams up until the 15th. So, all right, you guys all have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.